Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Paris. I've had a bit of a weird reading experience. I've been like bouncing around the place, but there is one book that is on my radar right now. I think I'm ready to read The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber, and if you didn't know, this is the second book in the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. I read Once Upon a Broken Heart last month, and if you watched my reading wrap up or even my reading vlog of it, I only rated that book 3.75, and I don't want to say only because it doesn't mean that it's bad. It was really just like a fun fairy tale book. I did enjoy it, but it didn't captivate me the way I would have wanted it to. I'm gonna give you guys updates while I read it. I'll let you know if I'm enjoying it. I'm not gonna give too much context because again, this is the second book in the trilogy, so things can be spoiled. This one just kind of continues that story. Good morning, friends. So it is maybe 2 days since I last said I was starting this book, and I have gotten to page 110. So I'm on chapter 14, and I definitely have some thoughts. I'm enjoying this more than I enjoyed Once Upon a Broken Heart. I think that's kind of to be expected. A lot of people prefer this book over Once Upon a Broken Heart because the story has already kind of been built. We're just continuing on from that story. I felt like the first book was kind of just preparing you for this one. If you are someone who read Once Upon a Broken Heart and you didn't really enjoy it, but you like fairy tale type of stories, I would say to still read the second one. It's very fast paced straight from the start because we go right in to where the last book left off. I'm hoping I'll like Evangeline a lot more in this book because I didn't really like her in the first one. I felt like she was way too trusting, which I can see now. She's questioning her own thoughts and questioning whether or not she should trust people a lot more than she was in the first one. It's making her indecisive though because she can't trust herself to trust people. If I have any other thoughts, I'll check in with you guys, but yes, so far I'm enjoying it. I've already tapped it twice, which in the first book I only tapped 3 things. That's it. I have finished The Ballad of Never After. Everything that I expected from Once Upon a Broken Heart was in this one. It was really, really good. I don't think there's anything I would seriously change about this book. And just her worlds are very magical. They're very fun, and I really enjoyed that. Jax honestly carried this entire book once again. And there is a cliffhanger, if you didn't know. Like, that's what people talk about all over TikTok, that there is a cliffhanger at the end of this book. It was a really great cliffhanger. Good morning, friends. Now that I've had the night to sit on my thoughts, I feel like I wanted to quickly just give a brief overview on how I'm feeling about The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber. I finished this book last night and I gave the book 4.5 stars. I feel like my rating might change. I literally dreamt about Jax last night. The dream had nothing to do with the book, but I was in school and I was doing a test and I was like trying to mentally talk to him and tell him to give me the answers for my test. Like, what? Anyways, if you didn't know, I actually thrifted this one. Shockingly enough, I got this book for $5.99 from Value Village. Like, who gave this up? I don't know. I've really just been on a fantasy kick. After reading The Ballad of Never After, I feel like I just need to be in a fantasy world. This vlog turned into, I think, like a mood reading vlog more than like reading fantasies for a week. This is literally the debate that I go through when I finish a book. On my Kindle, the fantasy books that I have The Serpent and Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. I'm not reading that right now. I think I'm gonna pick for my physical TBR. I don't trust anything that I have right now, to be honest, to hit as much as this book did. But I do want to start the Throne of Glass series, which I've mentioned a few times on my channel, and I am going to start with The Assassin's Blade. So The Assassin's Blade has 5 novellas, and these novellas, at least 4 out of the 5 came out in 2020. 2012, I believe, but they came out right before Throne of Glass came out. I don't know if this is gonna get me into the series. Like, am I gonna enjoy these enough to want to continue? I'm not sure, but I feel like the longer I sit on reading Throne of Glass, the more I'm gonna screw myself over. I do really want to finish the Throne of Glass series throughout the fall. The first novella in here is 75 pages, and that one is The Assassin and the Pirate Lord. It is now, I think, like 2 or 3 days since I last updated you guys. I am now reading The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J Maas. Actually really enjoying it. I've just been very busy the last couple days. I loved the first novella. It was very exciting to me. Like, I think I already really like the main character. The main character's name is Selena, and I really like her. I think she's very independent. She's very like fierce. She knows what she wants. She stands up for what she believes in. Basically, we're getting a background of this character. So if you start with Throne of Glass and then you move on to this one after, whether it's the first, second, or third book, this to you is like you're going back in time. But for me, I wanted to kind of just get her backstory first because that's just the way my mind works. I also do like another character named Sam, but I don't know if he's gonna continue being in the series. Like I said, I'm on the second one and we're introduced to this character named Irene. I'm assuming that's how you pronounce it. I am assuming that she ends up being a main character in the Throne of Glass series, or at least a side character. I think this is just connecting dots to future characters and just like things about Selena. The thing about reading a book that is so popular and hearing names is like, I see names and I'm like, I'm pretty sure I've seen this name on TikTok or Bookstagram or whatever. As you saw earlier, I decided to drink coffee at 6 p.m. today because I was just so tired. I'm not making the greatest progress with this book. It has nothing to do with the book. It has all to do with me being tired. I'm really liking this. I love Selena, and I'm liking these characters that are being introduced that I can tell they're gonna be important characters throughout the Throne of Glass series. This is 5 novellas. It's not the same as a story being developed. Like a whole book having a story being developed is so different than reading 5 stories that are like backstories of a character. But I think I'm in the mood for something like super lighthearted right now. I can't remember the last time I read a fluffy romance, and I'm just in the mood for that right now. And there's one book that has caught my eye. I'm thinking about reading Out on a Limb. I don't know too much about it, but I know I think it's an accidental pregnancy trope. Like I told you guys last night, I started Out on a Limb. I'm now 42% into this book. It is such an easy read. There are 2 disability reps in this book. So we have Win and we have Bo, and you know, they had a one-night stand and she ends up pregnant. It really is just them trying to navigate how to be strangers that are having a baby together, you know. And I think we kind of get the gist of where things go. Because I have been pregnant before, there are a lot of things that I can definitely relate to in this book. Like, for one, when she had her first ultrasound. My first ultrasound experience was definitely very emotional for me. When the technician is not talking, you have all these thoughts running through your head. At first moment, when you see the little peanut looking gummy bear thing on the screen, you're just like, wow, that's inside of me. The thing is, at the beginning of your pregnancy, you can't even tell that you're pregnant. Like, you can't look at yourself and tell that you're pregnant. No one can tell that you're pregnant. So that one thing is almost like confirmation for you. Like, other than the pregnancy test being positive, you have no real like visual of the fact that you're pregnant. So it is just such a surreal moment, and it was so much fun reading that because that's exactly what I experienced. I am now finished Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonam-Young. I'm giving this book 3 stars. The reason being is I did enjoy the book. My 3 stars are like, I liked it. It did what it needed to do. Like I mentioned, I was in the middle of reading The Assassin's Blade. I just needed a break from something that made me think, if you get what I mean. Reading a contemporary romance, for the most part, you don't have to do a lot of thinking. That's exactly what this book did for me. There was nothing complicated going on. The couple, their communication was amazing. Obviously, we get that whole thing where there's feelings involved and they're not really saying anything, but for the most part, they had really great communication with just sharing how they felt about certain situations, moments where they felt uncomfortable or they felt scared or nervous or whatever the case may be. For the most part, they had really great communication, and I love that there was no third act breakup. There was no third act messiness. I don't think it was like amazing, but it was just a good book. I am loving The Assassin's Blade. All the stories are connecting. Like, it's all in like a chronological order. It's like one thing after another. So it's not like random stories throughout Selena's life. I ended up deciding to listen to the audiobook. I am not an audiobook girl. Maybe for like non-fiction books, but typically I don't like reading or I don't like listening to audiobooks. I usually don't enjoy them. But for some reason with this one, I was perfectly fine and I actually enjoyed it the entire time I was listening to it. When I'm like doing things, like right now I have a ton of laundry to fold, I'm gonna listen to the audiobook. I'm on page 394. We have 40 pages left now. I'm terrified, I'm scared. I'm just assuming something, I don't know. I can't say. Anyways, I'm gonna read. This book made me experience way too many emotions at once. I knew going into this that there was going to be some emotional damage. What I guessed was going to happen is exactly what happened, and I feel like I guessed it just simply based off like little things that I heard people say. The emotions, the heartbreak I'm gonna experience for a while. I love this book. I'm giving it 5 stars. I told myself I was originally gonna wait till the next day to decide if I wanted to give it 5 stars, but no, it is 5 stars. As we know, we read The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber, which I gave 5 stars. Originally, actually, I gave that 4.5, and I changed it to a 5, just simply based off of the fact that I realized that there was so much foreshadowing throughout the book and even in the first one, and I just loved how it all came together. Then I read Out on a Limb, which I read in the middle of reading The Assassin's Blade. I read that on Kindle Unlimited and I enjoyed it, but it wasn't like anything amazing. I gave it 3 stars. Then, you guys already know, just finished The Assassin's Blade, 5 stars, amazing, loved it, and now I'm ready to get into Throne of Glass. But it's time for me to go to bed, so thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, if you want to see me do more reading vlogs, definitely give this video a like, and if you're not subscribed, do not forget to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.